Hey guys, if I haven't had the chance to meet you yet, my name is Christian and I'm one of the worship pastors here at New Life. And I hope that wherever you might be, you're having a great day today. I'm excited to get into the Word with you. Today we're going to look at 1 Kings chapter 1. It's pretty long. Before we dive in, just some context. So this is the end of David's story. His family life had always been a mess, really ever since he committed adultery with Bathsheba. So now David is old. He can't get out of his bed. So he's basically powerless because he's so close to the end. But he is still the king, and so he can still give instructions, which raises the question of who's going to be king after David. And so he has had sons who have died who would have been next in line to be king. You have Amnon, then Gilead, then Absalom, which leaves the next person in line by bloodline, which is Adonijah. So naturally, Adonijah would assume that he should be the next king. But we know from 1 Chronicles 28 that David heard from the Lord, and he had already appointed Solomon to be the next king. So things are about to be pretty tense. So let's dive in. Verse 5, it says, Adonijah put himself forward and said, I will be king. So he got chariots and horses ready with 50 men to run ahead of him. And so Adonijah, he then goes and he tries to build up his support base. But some do not join Adonijah. And so Adonijah throws a big party, offers sacrifices is what the word says, big feast. And he invites pretty much everybody except for his brother Solomon and Solomon's supporters. And one of Solomon's supporters is Nathan, who asked Bathsheba, Solomon's mom, haven't you heard that Adonijah has become king? And our Lord David knows nothing about it. Go to the king and remind him that Solomon is supposed to be the king. So why is Adonijah king? So Bathsheba told David everything that had happened and added, the eyes of Israel are upon you to learn from you who will sit on the throne. Clear this up, or once you die, me and Solomon will be treated like animals. And then in verse 29, David makes an oath. It says, as surely as the Lord lives, who has delivered me out of every trouble, I will surely carry out this very day what I swore to you by the Lord, the God of Israel. Solomon, your son, shall be king after me, and he will sit on my throne in my place. So David, he clears it up. And so from his bed, David then gives his plan. He calls in Solomon's supporters, Zadok, Nathan, and Benaiah. And he tells them in verse 33, have Solomon, my son, mount my own mule and take him down to Gihon. There have Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet anoint him king over Israel. And they're going to make some noise. Blow the trumpet and shout, long live King Solomon. Then you are to go up with him, and he is to come and sit on my throne and reign in my place. I have appointed him ruler over Israel and Judah. So they did just that, and when they blow the trumpet, all of the people shouted, long live King Solomon. And they went up after him, playing pipes, rejoicing greatly, so that the ground shook with the sound. It was a party. Well, meanwhile, Adonijah was still with his guests as they were finishing their feast. And they heard the trumpet and asked, what's the meaning of all the noise in the city? So right then, Jonathan comes in and delivers the news. David has made Solomon king. And the word says that at this, all of Adonijah's supporters scattered in fear. But Adonijah, in fear of Solomon, went and took hold of the horns of the altar. So someone then told Solomon that Adonijah was terrified. And Solomon replied graciously that if Adonijah shows himself to be worthy, not a hair of his head will fall to the ground. But if evil is found in him, he will die. Then Adonijah came and bowed down to King Solomon, and Solomon said, go to your home. That's some serious mercy. And so do you see the difference between Adonijah and Solomon in this story? So Adonijah declares himself to be king, but God had recognized Solomon. Don't we see this all the time in our own walks with God? Much like Adonijah, we declare ourselves king or rulers over our own lives. We want to make the plan. We want to control our own destiny. We want to climb to the top. But the whole point of Christianity is that Jesus has been crowned as our Lord, and we are called to bow to him as king. We also see this theme all the time throughout the whole Bible. James 4, chapter 10 says, to humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up. In Luke 14, verse 11, Jesus said that those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. You know, oftentimes in our pride, we want to exalt ourselves, but God doesn't work that way. And so as you walk through this day, I just encourage you to think about this story and ask the Lord to help you walk in humility.